As you reach the halfway point of your life, you begin to feel as though you're standing at a crossroads. Everything you thought you understood about your existence begins to shift. Suddenly, the things you once valued no longer bring the same joy. The dreams you pursued, the ambitions you had, they feel distant, like echoes of someone else's life. It's in this moment that you start to question everything you've built. The most intense feeling that emerges during this phase is the fear of time. The awareness that you can't turn back the clock, that the years behind you are gone and the years ahead are limited. This awareness often triggers an existential crisis, a moment when you begin to ask yourself deep questions. Questions like, have I wasted my time? Am I living the life I'm supposed to live? And perhaps the most unsettling question of all, is this it? As you reflect on your past, it's not just a sense of regret that arises, but a profound sense of uncertainty about what lies ahead. You realize that stability, what you once thought was the steady foundation of your life, can crumble in an instant. This is what philosophers call existential dread, the deep anxiety that comes from realizing that life is finite, that time is a limited resource, and that you can't go back. But what if this fear, this crisis, isn't a problem to be solved? What if it's an invitation to truly confront what matters most to you? The midlife crisis is not just about changes in your personal life. It's a philosophical reckoning. It's a confrontation with the nature of your existence and the choices you've made. In this moment, you're forced to ask, have I been living authentically? This is where existential philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Søren Kierkegaard come in. Sartre wrote that we are condemned to be free. That means every choice we make reflects who we are. But the anxiety comes from the responsibility of those choices. The midlife crisis is precisely the moment when you begin to feel that weight. You're not just regretting your past decisions. You're questioning your entire existence. This crisis is not just a fear of aging. It's the realization that your life, every aspect of it, has been a product of your own choices. The question then becomes, what now? When we reach the middle of our lives, the thoughts of what could have been inevitably surface. What if I had taken a different path? What if I hadn't stayed in that job, in that relationship? What if I had chased my dreams sooner? These questions, while painful, are a reflection of something much deeper. Regret. Regret is an essential part of the human experience. It tells us what we value, what we've missed, and what we might still desire. But philosophers like Schopenhauer have pointed out that regret, while unavoidable, can be a tool for growth if we know how to use it. Regret isn't something to suppress, it's something to acknowledge. It shows us the gaps between our actions and our ideals, and more importantly, it points to the things we can still change. For many, the midlife crisis brings up all of the unfulfilled potential, all of the dreams deferred, and all of the paths not taken. But what if regret wasn't the end of the story? What if regret was the beginning of the search for something deeper, something more meaningful? The search for meaning is one of the most significant aspects of the midlife crisis. As you reach this point in life, you start to wonder, what's the point of all this? All the things you've worked for, your career, your relationships, your achievements, suddenly seem hollow. There's a nagging feeling that something is missing, that something deeper is needed. This is where Viktor Frankl's philosophy comes in. Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and a psychiatrist, argued that the key to overcoming existential despair was the search for meaning. According to Frankl, even in the most unbearable of circumstances, people can find meaning, and that meaning gives life purpose. This idea becomes even more powerful as we face the questions of midlife. It's not just about what we've done, but about what we still can do. We still have the power to create meaning in our lives, to redefine our purpose. But finding meaning isn't always easy. It requires a deep level of self-reflection. You must ask yourself difficult questions. Am I living the life I truly want to live? What have I been holding on to that no longer serves me? These are the questions that arise during the crisis, but they're also the questions that can lead to transformation. The search for meaning doesn't necessarily mean changing everything about your life, but it does require you to shift your focus from external accomplishments to internal fulfillment. You might have spent the first half of your life trying to achieve things, career milestones, financial security, social status. But now the question becomes, what brings me peace? What makes me feel whole? This is the essence of the midlife crisis. It's not just a crisis of identity or circumstance, but a crisis of meaning. It's a time when we start questioning everything we've held dear, including the notion of success. At midlife, many people realize that success, as it's traditionally defined, isn't enough. But what does true success look like? For some, it's not about more achievements, more recognition, or more material wealth. True success might lie in finding inner peace, in reconnecting with passions that were long neglected, or in building deeper, more authentic relationships. But change is hard, and embracing change during midlife is one of the most difficult aspects of the crisis. The fear of change, the fear of stepping into the unknown, is what keeps most people stuck. You've spent years building a life based on certain choices, and it's hard to imagine walking away from that. But what if you didn't have to walk away from everything? What if change meant reimagining your current life, rather than abandoning it entirely? Embracing change doesn't mean giving up everything you've worked for. It means seeing those things with fresh eyes, redefining what they mean to you, and deciding whether they're still in alignment with your core values. Philosophers like Heraclitus spoke about the inevitability of change. The only constant in life is change, he said. Change, however, doesn't always feel comfortable. It often feels like a disruption, an unwelcome guest. But midlife teaches us that change is not only inevitable, it's necessary. Change allows for growth, and it's through change that we discover who we are becoming. If we resist it, we miss out on the opportunities for reinvention that life is offering us. In existential philosophy, there's an idea called radical freedom. The notion that we are free to choose at any moment. That we are not bound by our past. This idea is both liberating and terrifying. It means that we are fully responsible for our lives, but it also means that we can shape our future regardless of where we've been. The fear of making the wrong choice holds many people back from embracing the freedom that comes with midlife. But the truth is, there are no wrong choices. There are only lessons to be learned. So, what does it mean to truly live authentically? For some, it means giving up the expectations placed upon them by society, family, or even their own past self. It means rediscovering what truly brings joy and meaning to their lives. And this doesn't always require drastic changes. Sometimes it means reevaluating what success and happiness really mean to you, without the influence of external pressures. The key to overcoming the midlife crisis is learning to live fully, to embrace change without fear, and to find meaning in both the things we've achieved and the things we still hope to accomplish. The crisis itself is a paradox. It's both the end and the beginning. It's the end of one chapter of life and the beginning of another. And in this moment of transition, we have the power to redefine who we are, what we want, and how we live. This is the opportunity of the midlife crisis, to step out of the shadows of our past, to accept the impermanence of life, and to create something new and beautiful in the years that remain. The road ahead is not set in stone. It's something we can continue to shape with each step we take. And in that freedom, we find not just meaning, but peace.